Hello everyone. In the last video, we learned about operator overloading and what is the need of it, what are the semantics and syntax of operator overloading, and a lots of example on unary and binary operator overloading. So if you haven't watched that video, I would suggest you to please watch that video first because this video is based on the previous one. So let's now understand the type conversion. Now in the previous videos we learned about the type conversion that happens implicitly or explicitly in case of basic data types. Now the question arises, if we have different data types, the user defined data type, what kind of typecasting will happen either by implicitly or by explicitly. So let us see. Now we know that what is typecasting, type conversion or typecasting. It simply means that converting one data type into another. For example, converting int into float or converting char into int, etc. Right? Now in case of user defined data type, I hope you will be able to understand what can be the drawbacks or what can be the difficulties to achieve this thing, because we have defined a user defined data type. The structure of that data type will be defined by user. So how will the compiler know that what kind of conversion it needs to do? So for example, I have a structure which have three things: int a, int b, and int c. And then I have another structure which have only two data members of type char a and char b. Now let's say if I want to assign the object of type second structure to object of type first structure. How will the compiler be able to understand that this char should be assigned to int a or assigned to int b or assigned to int c? Similarly, this char should be assigned to int a, b or c. Right? The compiler does not know about it. We haven't defined any particular function to do it. We haven't defined any kind of constructor or anything else, right? So that is the confusion and we have to solve it. So there are basically three things that we need to take care of. First is the conversion of basic types to class type. For example, if we are trying to do something like object 1 is equals to 1, so we are converting this one integer to a object. So we have to cater this need. Now the second point is conversion from class to basic type, the opposite of this one. So for example, int m is equals to we have some object like this. So this is the second thing, and the third one is conversion from one class type to another. The example that I just mentioned, conversion of one object to another. So these are the three things that we need to solve. Let's go by them one by one. The first one is conversion of basic to class type. How can we do it? So I hope you got the point that what this thing mean, conversion of basic type to class type. So we have basic data structure like int, float, char, etc., and now we have to convert them into user defined object. So we can achieve it using constructor, right? Constructor, what a constructor do, it can take argument in case of a parameterized constructor, and it creates a new object of the type class, the user defined thing that we have declared, right? So we can achieve this thing using constructor. Now how can we do it? Let's see by an example. So let's say we have a class, the name of the class is time, we have two data members hours and minute, and we have this parameterized constructor which take the argument int. So now what will happen if we try to execute these instructions? What will happen? The first one, the object t1 is created. It is very simple. The object t1 is created using default constructor because we haven't passed any parameter to it. Now the second line is we have just assigned a integer to 85 value. Now in the third line, t1 is equal to duration. This is an implicit call to this particular constructor, because what we are doing is we are trying to assign integer to an object value. So what will happen? Compiler try to solve this instruction. It will create an object using this parameter, duration parameter. Now it will search if we have the function to implement this line. So it will check, okay, we have a constructor which takes only integer argument. So it will do an implicit call to this function with parameter of this integer. It will execute these instruction and then return the type as time. and then it will simply assign the value to t1. Now this is implicit call. Another thing is we can also do an explicit call like this. So we can also write t1 is equal to time and then pass duration. It is the same thing. Okay, so this is the solution of converting basic data types to object types. Now our first problem is solved. Let's go to the second problem. Conversion of class to basic types. Now how can we do it? So we have a special function known as conversion functions to solve this particular problem. What we will do is, if we want to convert our vector class to integer class, let's say we have a class vector and we want to convert it to basic data type integer. Now what we'll do is we will have a function, member function to the class vector. Okay, so something like this. We will have a function to the class vector, and the function name will be the type that you want to convert it to. So if you want it to convert into an int, this name will be int, and if you want to convert it into double, this name will be double. Okay, so this is the class name that you want to convert, and this is the type name to which you want to convert it. So you want to convert class vector to integer. That is why you want to write a function in vector class that will take the argument of this vector object and then convert it into integer. I hope this makes sense to you. So what is the characteristic of this particular particular function? So first thing is it does not take any argument, because the object that is calling this particular function will be passed by default as an argument, right? So I can simply assess the vector object which is calling this function, which I want to convert it into basic data type. So that is why this function does not take any argument. Also it does not return any data type, because we want the type converted to be this name only. That is why we are specifying the name here. So it does not have any return type, it does not take any argument, but it is a member function of this particular class, the user defined class that you want to convert. Okay, now let's see what is happening here. So this function is trying to convert a vector to the corresponding scalar magnitude. So if we can recall, the magnitude of a vector is given by the square root of the sum of the squares of its component. So we can directly assess the component like something like this. So we can assess the component of the vectors directly, because this function is the member function, so it can assess the data members of the corresponding class, right? So we have the data members and we can do any operation that we want to do, and the return type will be this value only, double value. That is why we are returning square root of sum, right? But we are not specifying anything right here. We are returning, but we are not specifying the return type here, because by default the return type will be of double. Okay, so this is for class to basic data type conversion. Now these are the things that I have already mentioned. It must be a class member, it does not have any return type, and it must not have any argument. Okay, so now we have the last issue, that is conversion of one class to another class type. Now it can be done in two ways. For example, if we have a statement something like this, object of x is equals to object of y. So what we need to do, either we can convert this object y first into object x, and then this, for example, this temporary object x1, and then assign this object x1 to object x using the normal assignment operation in between the same data types, right? Now the next thing is have a function in this class, object x class, and then take object y as an argument, and then assign the and then do the operation that you want to do. So these are the two ways. Let's understand it by an example. So for example, if we have this statement to execute. Now here we call this object y class as the source class, because this is the source of the data, and object x as the destination class, because this is the destination that we want to have, right? This is the destination class. Okay, now the first path is this one, where we are writing a casting operation function that we just learned in the class y, which is converting this object y into class x. Okay, so this is typecasting. We are converting this object y into this type. So that is why we want to specify the casting function in object y only, right? For example, when we wanted to convert vector into int, so what we did, we had a function, casting function, in vector class, right? So similarly, if you want to convert object y into object x, you have to have this casting function in object y class. So this is the first path. Now the second path is using constructor that we learned in conversion of basic types to class type. What we can do is we can pass this object y as the constructor parameter, and then in the constructor itself the conversion will happen. So for example, when we wanted to do object 1 is equals to object 1a is equals to 1, so what we did, we had this constructor that will take the argument of int and it will do the operation that we want to perform. Okay, so these are the two ways. Depending on where you want to write the function, you can decide which path you want to take. Either you want to write the function in class x or in class y. You can decide what kind of path you want to take. Okay, so to summarize, let's see how can we achieve the type conversion. If we want to do a conversion from basic to class type, so let's clarify. If we have something like object to basic, right? So here the source class is basic data type, this is basic, and the destination class is user defined, right? So in the user defined data type, we have the constructor to solve this particular problem, right? Now in case of class to basic, that means if we want something like int a is equals to object, so here the source class is user defined and the destination class is basic data type. So that we did it using casting operator. Remember when we did vector and then operator and then double, so that was our casting operator. So it was used to achieve the basic to class to basic data type conversion. Now the third is class to class conversion. It can be done by both, either using the casting operator or using the constructor. Now let us understand this by an example. We have two classes, invent2, which is the destination class, the class that we want to have in the end, and the invent1 class, which is the source class that we want to convert. Now what do you think? Should we define a casting operation in this class, or should we define a constructor in it to do the type conversion? So for this, let's see this table again. Here invent1 is your source class and invent2 is your destination class, and we want to have a class to class conversion. So in the invent1, we have to define casting operator, and in invent2 we have to define constructor. Okay, so now we got the idea what are the functions that we want to define and declare in both the classes. Now let's see what are the functions that are declared here. First, we have this parameterized constructor to construct the objects of this invent1 class. Then we have put data function. Then we have get data functions for all the three data members, and then we have this casting operator function, right? As we know that we have to define casting operator in invent1 class, so here it is. This is the operator keyword. This is the type we want to convert in. So we want to convert this invent1 class into type float. Okay, now we got the point. And now this is for the conversion of invent1 to invent2, right? So that is why we have the type invent2 here. Okay, now this is the class invent1. Now let us see what is defined in invent2 class. So here we have two data members only, the first one of type int and the second one of type float. In the public section we have first the default constructor, then we have the parameterized constructor, put data function, and then the constructor that will do type conversion. You can see that there is only one argument in it. Why? Because we are converting one type into another, so that is why the constructor does not need any more arguments in it, right? So that is why this constructor has the ability to perform type conversion, but these constructor which have more than one argument does not have the ability to convert one type into another. I hope you understand it, why this type of constructor only require one argument and then only they will be able to convert one type into another. Now let us see the main code. First we have the invent1 object, which is constructed using the parameterized constructor, which had 3 arguments. Now we have defined the invent2 object using the default constructor, and then we have some float value. Now the first type conversion is from invent1 to float. That means class to basic. Now take a pause and think whether the casting operator will work or the constructor will work in this particular case. Yes, you are right. The casting operator will work here. That will take the parameter of this s1 and convert it into float. So as you can see, we have already defined this casting operator here, which is doing the operation that we are returning items into price. Now items is of type integer, price is of type float. So now this will perform an implicit type conversion. The compiler will be able to understand that okay, I have to return float, because multiplication of integer to a float will return a float value. So this is done. Now the next conversion is class to class. d1 is equals to s1. Now this will use the constructor of class invent2 to construct an object of class invent2, taking the argument of object of invent1 class and then assign it to the relevant object. Okay, we could also do the type conversion using the casting operator in this case also, by writing something like this: d1 is equals to invent2 and then passing this argument s1, and then it will invoke this particular casting operation function to do the type conversion. I hope you got the point and you are able to understand the type conversion now, both implicit and explicit type conversion. So this is it for the video. I hope you have liked it, and if you like the content on this channel, please hit the like, subscribe button. Thank you for watching.